The relationship between Pakistan and Afghanistan has always been complex, emotional, and deeply rooted in history. When we hear the title Pakistan vs. Afghanistan, the real truth behind the tensions, many people immediately think about border clashes, political statements, or recent conflicts. But the real truth is much deeper than daily headlines. It is a story shaped by geography, history, security concerns, regional politics, and decades of war that have affected both nations in different ways. To understand the tensions, we must first go back in history. One of the central issues between Pakistan and Afghanistan is the Durand Line. This border was drawn in 1893 between British India and Afghanistan. After the creation of Pakistan in 1947, Pakistan inherited this border. However, successive Afghan governments have questioned the legitimacy of the Durand Line, arguing that it divided ethnic Pashtun communities on both sides. Pakistan, on the other hand, considers it an internationally recognized border. This disagreement has remained one of the core sources of mistrust between the two neighbors for decades. Geography has also played a powerful role. Pakistan and Afghanistan share a long and porous border of over 2,600 kilometers. The mountainous terrain makes it difficult to control movement. For decades, people have crossed back and forth for trade, family visits, and migration. However, the same border has also been used by militant groups, smugglers, and armed fighters. This has made security a constant concern for Pakistan, especially after the rise of militancy in the region. The Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979 changed everything. During that period, millions of Afghan refugees fled to Pakistan. Pakistan opened its doors and hosted one of the largest refugee populations in the world. For years, Afghan refugees lived in camps and cities across Pakistan. While this humanitarian support was appreciated internationally, it also created long-term economic and security challenges for Pakistan. Weapons, drugs, and extremist ideologies spread in the region during the war years, affecting both countries. In the 1990s, Afghanistan fell into civil war after the Soviet withdrawal. Various factions fought for control until the Taliban emerged and took power in 1996. Pakistan was one of the few countries that recognized the Taliban government at that time. This decision created tensions between Pakistan and other global powers. Later, after the events of 9/11 and the US-led invasion of Afghanistan in 2001, the political landscape changed again. Pakistan officially supported the international coalition against terrorism, but it also faced accusations from Afghan leaders who claimed that militant groups were finding safe havens across the border. These accusations further strained relations. Afghan governments under leaders like Hamid Karzai and Ashraf Ghani frequently accused Pakistan of interfering in Afghanistan's internal affairs. Pakistan repeatedly denied these claims and insisted that it wanted a peaceful and stable Afghanistan. From Pakistan's perspective, instability in Afghanistan directly harms Pakistan's own security and economy. Cross-border attacks, especially by groups like the Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan, TTP, have caused significant loss of life inside Pakistan. Pakistani officials argue that these groups use Afghan territory to launch attacks and then retreat across the border. On the other side, many Afghans believe that Pakistan has historically tried to influence Afghan politics to secure its strategic interests. This perception has fueled anti-Pakistan sentiment in some parts of Afghan society. Protests, harsh political statements, and media narratives have sometimes intensified public anger. Social media has also played a role in spreading misinformation and emotional reactions, making diplomatic solutions more difficult. Another key factor behind tensions is regional geopolitics. Afghanistan has long been a battleground for global and regional powers. Countries like the United States, Russia, China, and Iran have all had interests in Afghanistan. Due to its geographic location, has been deeply involved in these dynamics. Whenever foreign powers increase or decrease their presence in Afghanistan, it directly affects Pakistan's security environment. The withdrawal of US forces in 2021 and the return of the Taliban to power created a new phase in Pakistan-Afghanistan relations. Initially, many analysts believed that relations might improve under the Taliban government because of past ties. However, the reality has been more complicated. Border clashes have continued. Pakistan has increased fencing along the Durand Line to control illegal crossings and prevent militant infiltration. Afghan authorities have at times opposed this fencing, leading to confrontations. The issue of the TTP remains a serious challenge. Pakistan expects the Afghan Taliban to take strong action against groups that threaten Pakistan's security, while Afghan officials emphasize their own internal priorities and sovereignty. Trade and economic cooperation present both opportunities and challenges. Afghanistan depends heavily on Pakistani ports, especially Karachi, for access to international markets. Transit trade agreements exist, but political tensions often disrupt trade routes. Border closures, security incidents, and diplomatic disagreements can halt economic activity, affecting ordinary people on both sides. At the same time, both countries know that economic cooperation could bring mutual benefits, reduce poverty, and promote stability. The refugee issue also continues to shape relations. For over 4 decades, millions of Afghans have lived in Pakistan. While many have returned, a significant number remain. Pakistan argues that it cannot host refugees indefinitely due to economic pressures. Afghanistan, facing its own economic crisis, struggles to reintegrate returnees. This creates humanitarian and diplomatic challenges that require cooperation rather than confrontation. It is important to understand that the tensions are not simply about two countries fighting each other. They are about trust, historical grievances, security fears, and political narratives. Both nations have suffered immensely from war and instability. Thousands of civilians, soldiers, and officials have lost their lives. Terrorism has damaged infrastructure, education systems, and economic growth. Blame alone cannot solve these issues. Media narratives sometimes simplify the situation as Pakistan versus Afghanistan, but the reality is more interconnected. The people of both countries share deep cultural, religious, and ethnic ties. Pashtun communities live on both sides of the border. Families are divided by a line drawn over a century ago. Trade routes, languages, and traditions connect the two societies in ways that politics cannot easily erase. The real truth behind the tensions is that both countries face internal challenges that spill over into their bilateral relationship. Afghanistan has struggled with decades of war, weak institutions, and economic collapse. Pakistan has faced terrorism, political instability, and economic pressures. When internal problems intensify, leaders sometimes take strong external positions to address domestic audiences. This can harden attitudes and reduce space for compromise. At the same time, there have been many efforts to improve relations. High-level meetings, intelligence cooperation, and military coordination have taken place at different times. Confidence-building measures, joint border mechanisms, and trade agreements have been proposed. While progress has often been slow, dialogue has never completely stopped. Both sides understand that permanent hostility is not sustainable. Looking toward the future, the path to stability lies in mutual respect and realistic expectations. Pakistan wants assurances that Afghan territory will not be used against it. Border management must be handled with communication and coordination. Counter-terrorism efforts must be sincere and transparent. Economic cooperation should be expanded to create shared interests that reduce incentives for conflict. The international community also has a role to play. Economic support, humanitarian aid, and diplomatic engagement can reduce pressures that fuel instability. However, lasting peace cannot be imposed from outside. It must be built by Pakistan and Afghanistan themselves through patience and dialogue. In conclusion, when we speak about a Pakistan versus Afghanistan, the real truth behind the tensions, we must look beyond slogans and emotions. The tensions are rooted in history, geography, security concerns, and regional politics. They are fueled by mistrust, accusations, and unresolved disputes. But they are also overshadowed by deep cultural ties and shared suffering. The future does not have to be defined by conflict. With wise leadership, mutual understanding, and genuine cooperation, Pakistan and Afghanistan can transform their relationship from rivalry to partnership. The real truth is not that they are destined to fight, but that they are destined to coexist. And in that coexistence lies the hope for peace, stability, and prosperity for millions of people on both sides of the border.